All right, pre-lesson, 2-5, day 2, getting there. So now we're going to take a lot of what we learned plus a little extra and try to put it all together. So here we go. A little quick review of geometry. Today's work is going to require that you remember a little bit about rectangles. The formula for the area would just be length times width. The perimeter would, remember, if this is width, this is width. If that's length, that's length. I probably should have flipped them a little bit because the longer one's normally the length, but the perimeter would be 2W plus 2L, regardless, okay? Keep that in mind. That's warming you up for the sample problem. I'm not going to do a sample problem during the pre-lesson. You're going to have to see where this fits by looking at the example problem I give in the next video. So keep that in mind. This is the meat and potatoes for now. And I want you to notice something. This is what we did for 2-5, day 1, a whole bunch of these. And it says solve it. It's like, okay, I know what to do. I'm going to try to complete the square here because that's what we've been working on. So that has to be a 1. So we would say, okay, we're going to divide all that by 2. We're going to divide that by 2. So we'd say x squared plus 4x plus 30 equals 0. Now look how nice that is. Notice this one's equal to y. We're going to have to handle that a lot differently. So that's the point I'm trying to make here. So if we were to finish this problem and do it the way we've been doing it, we'd say, hey, that's not a perfect square trinomial, so we're going to kick this to the curve. In fact, we're going to take it to the other side. X squared plus 4x plus space equals negative 30 plus space. Now, what we have here is we're going to take half of this, half of that is 2, square it, 4, and 4. And so now we would have x plus 2 squared equals negative 26. Now, I'm not going to bore you by finishing this because we did a whole bunch of these last unit or last lesson. But now's where we would go bada boom, bada bing, do the right thing, and just keep going, and you're going to solve for x. You're going to get 2 answers, okay? The point I'm trying to make today is they're going to change gears on you, and they're going to say, hey, find the vertex form, max and min of, notice this is the same thing as this. So some of you are like, oh, I'm just going to divide everything by 2. But remember, that was a big no-no when we were really focusing on parabolas. We don't want to mess with the y. So how come you could divide by 2 over here? Because we have a 0. It doesn't change anything. Mathematically, it just works out. We do not want to divide by 2 here. That is a huge no-no because, remember, this is vertex form of some random parabola that I grabbed out of the air. We'd be able to talk about this a lot. We'd be able to look at this and say, hey, the vertex moves 2 to the right. That moves it up 3. This means it's going to be like this, so it opens up upward, but it also tells us it's going to have a minimum because it goes down and up. And because of that, it's going to be a compression. It's going to flatten, okay? Now, the point I'm trying to make is look at the y. It's not y over 2. It's not 1/2 y. That y has to be left alone before it's in vertex form. So when you get to here and you're like, oh, it equals y, don't you dare divide everything by 2. This is where you're stuck keeping everything on this side. Remember, we brought this 30 over to the other side. We don't want to do that. We don't want to mess the y up. So what we're going to do, go back to the perfect square trinomial idea. We're going to take a 2 out of here, and we'd be left with x squared plus 4x plus space right there, and then plus 60 plus space equals y. Again, not messing with this. So we take half of that, it's 2. 2 squared is 4, so I put a 4 there, but wait, that's actually 2 times 4, which is 8 on the left-hand side. And this space is also on the left-hand side. This is where you'd have to take the opposite to keep that left-hand side balanced. You're not screwing it up. So here, I'd have 2 times x plus 2 squared, and that would be 52. Now I'm going to put the y equals on this side because that's the way it's typically presented to us. Now we can talk about this. The the vertex would be -2 up 52. That's one of the things. This is considered vertex form. So when the book asks you for vertex form, you can be done, because now it's readable. This is where the vertex would be based on this and this. We would also know, and they're not asking us to talk about it like compression or stretch or anything like that. They just want to know, is this going to have a maximum or a minimum? So if we actually graphed it, -2, and then we went up 52, way up there, we'd know that it's going to be like this and kind of skinny, but they're not worried about that. It opens up upwards. Right there would be our minimum value, because it goes down and comes up. Now they're going to want to know where it is, so that would be, the minimum value would be 52. But if they ask for the point of the minimum value, that would be right there. That would be the vertex. So that's what you're going to have to be on your guard for, okay? We're going to practice some of these on the next video, plus show you where this is going to fit in to the math, okay? It's kind of cool, but that's the inner nerd coming out of me. So take a look at the sample problems next video.